Hannah Brandt live at the White House monitoring everything, and there is a lot to monitor. Good evening, Hannah. What are you learning about the status of the war?
Well, Hannah, I think the top line tonight is that we really do seem to be seeing a pause in attacks for the first time in nearly 2 weeks. Last night was the first night the U.S. did not launch strikes on Iran after we saw 13 straight nights of attacks on various military sites and other targets within the country. Now, I asked a senior U.S. official about this lapse and whether it means there's some progress in the behind-the-scenes negotiations, and that official told me only that President Trump's preference is diplomacy, but that he has shown Iran what will happen if they fail to come to the table in a serious way. Now, President Trump did mention Iran in his speech at the White House Correspondents' Dinner just last night. Here's what he said about where things stand at this point.
I've got Iran, I've got this, I've got that, which is all going extremely well. Don't believe the fake news. And by the way, they are talking to us right now. They'd love to make a deal. I don't think they're ready to. I don't think it's time yet, but I'm willing to listen. But they cannot have a nuclear weapon.
And we're also now learning that U.S. allies want to strategize about what to do with the Strait of Hormuz. As you pointed to, that is still a problem. They want to see traffic flowing again. And a White House official does tell NewsNation the U.S. and U.K. are looking to convene potentially a conference next week in London. And it's there that leaders would discuss a possible international coalition to try to protect shipping in the Strait of Hormuz once again. And U.S. CENTCOM says at the same time its naval blockade against Iran is still active, saying so far it has redirected 12 commercial ships, disabled 2, and had U.S. forces board 2 more. CENTCOM saying just yesterday, U.S. forces had to disable a ship in the Gulf of Oman after its crew apparently tried to violate the blockade, Hannah.
Hannah, let's move on to the other foreign conflict we've been covering, Ukraine now becoming a potential target in this current conflict. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. We're seeing these two almost start to merge, and this all started with an accusation from Ukraine's President Zelensky. He wrote online that his country has intelligence that shows Russia is sharing information with Iran. He says they're doing so to help with its attacks on U.S. forces. And according to Zelensky, Russia has been giving Iran satellite surveillance images of U.S. military facilities located in the Gulf states, which Iran then targets in its attacks. Of course, just last weekend, we saw those prove deadly to 4 U.S. troops. And then, after Zelensky posted that, we saw an Iranian parliament leader shoot back, accusing Ukraine of helping Israel in this conflict. They say Ukraine has been providing drone support and that doing so, quote, turned its entire territory into a legitimate target for Iran. Furthermore, Iran's foreign ministry does say Ukraine has already attacked one of its ships in the Caspian Sea. They say that attack killed a sailor. And all of this back and forth comes as both Ukraine's President Zelensky and Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu are set to meet with President Trump this Tuesday here at the White House. Hannah?
You're right, a lot of back and forth. I wonder how the conversation will continue on Tuesday at the White House, where you are tonight. Hannah Brandt, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.